Being a parent, having kids should not be an excuse for you guys to not achieve your dreams and to become who you wanted to be before your kids came along. Hi everyone, welcome back to my Mommy's Life channel where I share with you guys my journey as a first-time mom, dentist, and business owner. So as like all my videos, the point of this channel is to basically give you guys the power, the courage to get out there and be everything you've ever wanted to be. You know, being a parent, having kids should not be an excuse for you guys to not achieve your dreams and to become who you wanted to be before your kids came along. And you know, this is really important because I don't want you guys at the end of your life to have a whole long list of regrets. So, you know, I hope you guys find this channel helpful for you guys to reach your goals because I'm there with you. I'm going to help you guys be an example that you guys can do it all. You know, I've got a 1-year-old and now I not only have one practice that I'm, having to run, I have 2 practices that I am the owner of. So, I believe that you guys can do it all because, everyone has a lot of time in their day. It's just how do you guys prioritize your time? So keep following this channel, and if you haven't done so already, please make sure you subscribe so that you never miss when I post a new video, okay? So today's video is gonna be awesome because I have a lot of friends who, are now starting to also have little ones, and I hear them go from, oh my gosh, my child never sleeps to, they sleep all the time, and it's the ones that I'm most worried about are those parents that at 6 months, they're still getting up every few hours in the night. And in my mind, that's just like astonishing. I don't even know how they are still functioning because if it were me, I knew with Caitlin that I hit a rock at about 6 weeks. When she was 6 weeks, I thought I was about to die. I wasn't sure if I was going to make it because I was so sleep deprived and I had this sudden shock that I had to go back to work in a couple weeks. So unlike most parents, because I was a business owner, it was even more critical for me to kind of jump back into the workforce because I knew that my team and the business, they all needed me as well. So I very quickly came up with a sleep training plan, and we knew that we were gonna do sleep training, but I was very motivated to kind of get Caitlin on a good sleep training plan. And I think that every parents, they just need to pick a sleep training method that works for them, that that coincides with their parenting beliefs, and run with it. Don't wait till it's too late to start sleep training because, we are still reaping the benefits of it. I would say that Caitlin at about 10 to 11 weeks old, she was sleeping from about 7 until 5:30, 6 in the morning. And so, it's really helped us out. I've been able to, spend time with her after work. And then when she goes to bed, I'm able to get my duties done, like dishes, laundry, and all that stuff before I needed to get myself into bed. And then I had a full night of sleep, and it was, what I needed to keep going, the day after day. So it's very important. I love it. And I think it's very important that you guys get your kids to start sleeping through the night as soon as you guys can. So I'm going to share with you guys what I did, and hopefully, this will help you guys, start looking for a sleep training plan that makes sense to you guys, okay? So this is what I used. It's called 12 Hours of Sleep by 12 Weeks Old. And I didn't hear about this till I was pretty close to delivering. But one of my friends told me about this book and she swore by it. And so I picked it up and I started reading it. It's an awesome book because it's really short and it's got big fonts. I mean, if you're somebody like me who have tons and tons of things to do, I really need things to be like Cliff Note versions, just kind of give me the facts, what I need to do, and let's get it done. So this was a great book. It wasn't, all drawn out or anything like that. So I wanted to share with you guys why I picked this method over some of the other ones out there. I didn't necessarily believe in the cry it out method where you just let the kid, scream their heads off until they basically cry themselves to sleep. But I also did not want to coddle Caitlin. I didn't want, every time she like peeped, I'd be in there picking her up, because then I also felt that, you know, I was reinforcing that behavior. So I wanted something kind of in the middle where it really focused on self-soothing and giving her the tools that she needed to, you know, get herself to sleep. So this was a perfect book. A little summary of this book, just so you guys can kind of see what it's about. One of the big things with this sleep training is the baby has to be a certain weight and size. So, you know, if they're too small, if they don't weigh enough, you can't quite start yet. But I encourage you to start looking it over so that you guys are kind of prepared, because there's some things in here that you guys can start right away, like different ways to comfort your child. That is very good to start from day one. So things like, you know, don't always just use a pacifier, or don't always just use a swing. And this author talks about having many, many tools in your tool bag so that you can try different things, switch it up in order to get your baby to calm down. So that was really helpful for us. And I think that's also why, you know, Caitlin isn't always reliant on a pacifier per se. You know, we use the pacifier as one of the ways to get her to calm down. And it was never my first choice. You know, I would, you know, try to kind of rock her a little bit. If that didn't work, I would put her on a swing. Sometimes I would hand her, you know, a rattle. And then, you know, of course, the pacifier was one of the many things that I would try to do to kind of calm her down. And that was really helpful, because otherwise, if you only use one thing, is every time they peep, you give them the pacifier. And then, you know, they're going to be way more attached to that one thing. So that's one thing that they talk about, is to have many methods to calm your child. And I think that was very good. And the other thing that this book will talk to you about is how to come up with a schedule. So one of the things that she starts to do is they encourage you to, you know, prolong the period by just a little bit between feedings. So, you know, if they start to fuss a little bit, try to see if you can stretch it out to 10 minutes. And in that 10 minutes, you know, you try to calm them down with the methods that we just talked about, a pacifier, a rattle, try to rock them for a little bit, to try to get them to wait until that 10 minutes is up in order to stretch out the time between feedings. And you can slowly increase that increment. And that's one of the things that this book, you know, talks about, is you slowly will stretch out that time between feedings so that now you can kind of cluster those feedings a little bit so that the baby's not just kind of snacking all day long. So of course, part 2 of that is to make sure that your baby is as fully fed as possible at their feeding. So you're trying to corral them into when he or she is being fed, that they are filling up fully. And that's one thing I noticed with Caitlin. She liked to, you know, feed it for maybe 10 minutes or so, and then she would fall asleep. And then she'll wake back up in another 5-10 minutes crying again. And it's because she didn't really completely get full the first time. So that's one of the things that they talk about, is trying to encourage your child to feed to the max, and then you won't feed them, you know, in between if we can help it. And so they slowly, you will start to wean off some of those middle of the day feedings and that type of thing. And before you know it, you're going to be starting out, like for Caitlin, we started out going at 10 p.m. She would get kind of like a final feeding, and she would sleep until about 5 in the morning. And that, you know, that beginning stage for me, that was good enough. You know, that was a good enough chunk of sleep that I didn't feel like a zombie. So, you know, we started there, and then before long, as she was able to take more in, and when she kind of switched over from breast milk to formula, that really helped too. She was able to kind of stay full longer. So pretty soon she was definitely 12 hours by 12 weeks. So, you know, I think that this book is really awesome, and not only it goes through the step-by-step method to get you there, it also talks to you guys about, you know, empowerment, you know, letting you guys know that, hey, the baby needs to be adjusting to your life and your schedule, and it's not everybody else revolving around the baby schedule. And you guys can definitely do that. And for us, it was just great because, you know, I wasn't having to just put her in the crib and let her scream her head off. You know, they talk about if they do start to cry, give them a few minutes, see if they'll kind of go back to sleep. And that's one thing I noticed that Caitlin would do. You know, the first few weeks, if she started crying, I'd be right there and I'd pick her up. But then I started, as I was reading this book, I would just let her be in her crib for a few minutes. And more often than not, she was just making noise and she would just go right back to sleep after a few minutes. So that was great. And then if they did cry a little bit longer, you don't necessarily need to pick them up right away. You can, you know, pat their back, you know, just be like shushing, you know, having your hand on them without picking them up to let them know that you're there to support them. And you don't have to necessarily right away pick them up, because I think a lot of parents may feel that like, oh no, they're crying, so I gotta, you know, give them everything they need. And I didn't really want to or believe I should do that with Caitlin, because then I felt that she would constantly rely on me to be picking her up. So that's what we did, and now she's really good. She'll actually fall asleep on her own completely. You know, we can basically do our nightly routine. We give her a bath, we give her, you know, some water, we read a book, we brush her teeth, and then we kind of will rock her for maybe like a minute or two, and then we tell her good night, we give her a kiss, we lay her in her crib wide awake, and we can watch her from the baby monitor. And after about a few minutes of kind of her rolling around, she'll fall asleep on her own. And so I think that's really cool. She doesn't, you know, need me for that part of the night, and it's awesome. And I think you guys will really love it as well. It's very, very been helpful for us. You know, we don't have to sit there for half an hour trying to get her to go to sleep. So I hope you guys will find a sleep training method. There's many out there. I think you guys should pick one out that works for you. You guys can even combine some. You know, we took a few methods from here and then also a few methods from, you know, other sources, and we kind of made it our own. The important thing is, you know, to teach them to self-soothe, have many tricks to get them to calm down, and don't be afraid if they whine or cry a little bit, because babies will do that. So, okay, I hope you guys find this video useful. If you guys did, please make sure you like it, and we'll see you next time. Bye!